there are very lot of things that you can help AI do, and so that your main task is focusing on building the business rather than doing this mind-numbing, manually repetitive work. And there are a lot of use cases now, so that's why they should pay attention. It's an incredibly productivity boost, and we are trying to enable that process for companies.
Hi, I'm Adam Gower, founder of GowerCrowd.com, where we help real estate syndicators find more investors. Welcome to the Easy Win AI Real Estate Show, exploring AI's impact on the real estate industry. Each episode offers practical tools, competitive AI strategies, and expert insights. For essential news and updates, visit easywin.ai and sign up for our free newsletter with actionable how-tos like how I added hours to my day by creating this clone of me you're watching and listening to right now. easywin.ai, the only newsletter you need on real estate and AI. All right, back to the real me. So my guest today is Parag Goswami, who is founder and CEO of a platform called Clik.ai. What Clik.ai do is they help to consolidate massive amounts of your own data, no matter where it comes from, and consolidate it into Excel spreadsheets so you can analyze that data very quickly. So I didn't really explain that very well. Parag is going to explain it a lot more clearly in today's podcast. He is an avid and longtime AI user, so he's very, very knowledgeable, and you're going to learn a lot about how to improve your workflows, what kind of benefits you get from using Clik.ai, and a lot more. If you've not already signed up for the newsletter, please go to GowerCrowd.com and hit the subscribe button, where you will see some of the companies that our subscribers work for. It is actually blew me away. Whenever I see that list, we have a decent sized subscriber base, but they work for some of the top companies in the country. All that, GowerCrowd.com, just hit the subscribe button. All right, enough of that. Over to Parag Goswami, who is founder and CEO of Clik.ai right now. All right, Parag. Oh, I'm so happy to talk to you. You and I speak to the exact same audience of sponsors out there, but you have a very different approach. So why don't we start right at the very top? I've got like only about 300-400 questions listed here, but let's start at the very top with a high level. What is the story behind Clik.ai? And just to be clear, that's about CLIK.ai. What's the story behind it? Let's start with that.
Yeah, so story is quite simple in the sense that, I was on the mortgage-backed securities side as a technical architect, building, credit risk systems, bond pricing systems for some startups. I was based out of India. My background is software development, software engineering. So that was my initial start into the real estate space. Worked primarily with the commercial mortgage-backed security kind of lenders and those kind of audience. Post that, startup experience, I started a company based out of India. It was called Integrand Analytics, and we became one of the, mid-size, a small to mid-size contract underwriting service provider for a lot of banks, multifamily shops. And so, just from a back office perspective, you can imagine there are a lot of workflows that teams generally don't have bandwidth either, or if they're going to, a lot of deal flow in the market, then they outsource that one. So it's not a new phenomenon. It has been happening for over 20, 30 years now. So that got me started. We ran that business for about 5 years, and that scaled really well. We became, just from myself, starting as a contract writer, to about 30 employees, dedicated staff, which was supporting, a different segment, all kinds of clients in their helping with their back office, workflows. So that got us thinking about how can we automate some of the processes, like at that point of time, 2017, when we were thinking about this. AI was very new. A lot of new technologies were coming into play. having a background in software, we decided we should start automating these back office solutions. And the goal was if we can put together a constellation or a suite of applications which are powered by AI, we can automate a lot of these processes. So
Mm.
in a way, companies can use those tools and a combination of human assisted underwriting to go and do their work faster. So that was the whole idea and story behind it. So we then, when we launched the company in 2018, we were very well receptive, from various large lender clients and brokerage shops, and most of them have stuck with us for a duration of this until now. So Clik.ai pretty much became one of their main tool to automate their financial modeling piece today.
So let's definitely talk about that. I don't want to drive down. By the way, I love your website. I know that, over time, everybody changes the, your website, you modify it, you adapt it, etc. But as it stands today, it says human assisted AI. I do like that. Everybody thinks that AI assists humans. I'm glad that you have it the other way around. It makes a lot more sense to me.
Yeah.
So you talked about the processes or the processes, and in fact, your LinkedIn profile, which is where we met, your LinkedIn profile has, let's see, one, two, three, four, at least four different processes that you talk about assisting with. So why don't we go through those? What are the processes and what are the benefits of working with Click AI for users, relating to these processes, Parag?
Right. So one of the main product and our flagship product that's been out there in the market for about 5 years now is our ability, that AI tool that can take any client's Excel model, every individual, every big bank, or private equity shop investing in real estate, or on the debt side when you manage those portfolio of loans, everything is spreadsheet driven till date. So what we did is with auto underwriting product, which is which you see out there, is basically takes client's Excel model, and then we have built data parsing solutions at the back end, which can take documents like rent rules, income statements for all types of asset classes, not just multifamily, and parse it out, normalize it, standardize it, so that once it's standardized, and all of this is pretty much done through our software. And then you can push that data into your Excel model. And with the click of a button, instead of analysts typing and keying that information, which typically and traditionally has taken hours and hours to build, sometimes depending on how busy the teams are, it can take a whole day to 2 days. So Click becomes a middleware where you can use this solution to fully automate your Excel modeling work. So that's our product called Auto Underwriting. The clients that are using it are lenders on the origination side. Majority of those user base comes from loan servicing shops, like massively loan servicers, buy portfolios and manage on behalf of lenders. So they have a huge pool of loans they have to quarterly review based on the agency guidelines, and let's say depending on their client base, an insurance company. So multiple processes, but everything revolves around spreadsheet work. So we automate those spreadsheets in a fraction of time using
Sure.
AI.
It's really incredible. So who is your client avatar, Parag? I mean, you've talked about CMBS, you've talked about lenders and services. These are institutional scale clients who,
Mhm.
handle hundreds, if not thousands of loans simultaneously. But when we started talking, you asked about multifamily sponsors. So who is your avatar and how small a shop can benefit from using your services?
We have found like the workflow is pretty much similar across all shops. However, I would say that our initial part of our last few years were focused on the enterprise segment,
Mm.
which I would say companies like Newmark, Bellwether Enterprise, Colliers, and Marcus Milchip, all the large brokerage shops and loan servicing shops and lenders, they have a team of whole army of analysts who's doing that. So there is a huge use case for them in terms of productivity boost
Mm.
that they can realize. And in me, so that's the kind client base. It's a mixed bag at this point. I would say majority of them are lenders and loan servicers, and then as I mentioned, that we have been very successful on our enterprise front. Now what we're trying to do is put together all these in a very impeccable price point and offer all these unique suite of softwares to even like a smaller shop or a multifamily syndicator.
Mm.
Because in my experience, the processes have remained pretty much, there is a large intersection of the similar process that goes across all these shops. However, companies are using one point solution and three different softwares for it. So we're trying to create this back office AI power driven engine that can help them with the due diligence processes, help them make more intuitive dashboards out of their data, which is typically has been sitting on PDF files, Excel files, which are very important information, but having that visualization using bunch of products.
Let me ask you this then. Uh, there are those companies that do have these disparate services and systems, right? So they'll get a report from a property. They've got a 200 unit property somewhere or 100 units somewhere, and they'll get a report. And then it has to be somehow integrated with other systems that they have internally, and that's the problem that you solve. But aren't there other companies? I don't mean to be challenging. I'm just legitimately interested. For example, I spoke to Paul Yont at Yardi a couple of weeks ago. Don't they have systems that do integrate like everything? So your property managers, when they input data, that flows all the way up to the CFO. And are they? Would you consider them a competitor in some way?
Not the competitor, but the problem over there is so there are different life cycle of, a property changing hands, or let's say even during the management of the property, right?
Okay.
Let's assume that you're looking for a financing or a loan on that property. It's not as easy as like a click a button and you get an Excel fully underwritten Excel model out of that ERD system. What you
Hmm.
get eventually is an Excel file in a different format or a PDF file in a different format. Now, assuming there are multiple property management softwares and everyone is looking different, so there's no conformity of the data, by the way. So that's why it takes manual repetitive work to structure that into a certain format, so that you can at least start inputting that data into an Excel model and base your analysis based out of that. So that's the broken system there. Like, when you talk about, it's, all these systems are legacy softwares they have built over time. So like they can't they do generate the output, but it's the output is across, disparate across different systems.
And so, what kind of describe to me what it looks like then? What kind of systems feed into Clik.ai? And the sharp edge of what you're delivering is an Excel spreadsheet, but it's your client's Excel spreadsheet, right? You're
That's
you're
correct.
okay mapping it onto what they already do. You're not trying to make them do something else. So can you describe, what it looks like for like the common challenges that real estate pros face, and what that actually looks like, from a user perspective?
From the user perspective is like so I can point different use case, like for a financing or a broker is a different, like broker would, whenever they're socializing the deal to their prospective network, they would ask the property owner to send them all the data in one folder, right? And that the data comes in like sometimes PDF, sometimes comes in
Mm.
Excel, sometimes they send it scanned document. So during that process, the data keeps changing and data has a different format. You can think
Hmm.
this as an unstructured data. Now, once this data dump is there with some other parties evaluating it, that's where the manual work comes in. And that's
Yes.
where they have their own system. They don't generally take whatever has been sent. They want to put all that information into their own Excel workbooks. And then we can talk about other products too, but that's
Mm.
the main, like they want to analyze that information on the file or on the Excel models that they have built over time, because they train their employees as well. Like, hey, this is a company in-house model, or they have learned that model from some coach or someone, and they're comfortable with that process. So
Right.
it's so our understanding is that if it's better that you don't change the process, if you can make that more efficient,
Yeah.
people will be more receptive. And this has been the guiding thought for everything that we build. And that's also when we talk about what kind of files are there. The files are pretty much raw files like PDF, Excel. You don't need to expect that into a particular format. We can build our solutions has been built over time that can look at different formats, can understand it. And obviously took us, 5, 6 years to perfect the system. So where we are today, we can pretty much look at any kind of raw file and make sense of it from the customer point in the sense that they are interested in evaluating and do all their portfolio analysis or their analysis, but to get to there they need time to be invested to on in cases, it could be hours, days. So that's the value. So it's a productivity play here. And once you have that process, then you can do a lot more with the data. So that's where we going. Like you can pretty much you can create a database of your own internal repository of corporate documents.
Yeah, it's really incredible. Let's talk about that in a second. That's really interesting. But you've mentioned being able to read scans.
Mhm.
You can actually read a scan, can you?
Yes, we have like OCR systems at the back
Oh,
end,
I
and we
see.
use we use some large companies APIs, like for example, Google Vision, Amazon's Test
Hmm.
Track. So OCR is a very
So
complicated
you could,
technology.
yes, they are. They're very difficult to get
Yeah,
accurate.
yeah.
So you can read just about anything. What it sounds like to me is that there's a fairly heavy onboarding lift when somebody comes in. Is that accurate? Because you need to understand presumably what what are the inputs that they bring in, but also how their model works, presumably. So like, what is that process for onboarding somebody?
So the process has streamlined over a period of time. Like today, we work with companies who have onboarded over 100 different Excel templates. So all we need to know is where's the what type of input you're taking, what type of output you're looking to get out of it. So we can plug the system together and get your Excel models integrated on a platform, so that let's say when you're ready, and it doesn't take a long time to get onboarded. It's
Hmm.
just a matter of for us to integrate their templates and the thing. And from there on, various videos, we spend a bit of time to train their users. And we've also like, the back office engine, we can also do that for the clients. So it's a complete, as I mentioned, human assisted system. It's up to the user, it's up to the company. They want to do it yourself, happy to train them. If they want clicks, experience, which we have done over the last 10 years of
Hmm.
building, underwriting hundreds and thousands of loans. So we can layer that a service as well. But as long as they know what to do with it and what they're expecting, it's a pretty streamlined process. And onboarding takes about a week for a smaller customer, maybe a couple of weeks for a very large company.
Really? Do you ever find, just as a side note, when you are looking at all these Excel spreadsheets that people bring, do you ever find errors in them that you correct?
There could be errors, which
Hmm.
basically we manage through our screen guided approach. So everything is visually, you can review all the numbers and everything within our screens, like it's a user interface. That is the assistive part. And a human or analyst or trained analyst, whoever is using the system, can really look. So there are flags and triggers and triggers that we have built, which we can tell you, hey, there is a total in the PDF which is not matching with what you're getting as an underwriter. So the system will tell you, okay, go fix that, or look what's going on here, before you click the button to push the data into your Excel model or your underwriting file.
All right, so how are users actually using this? You've described that kind of the way that the machine works, or the way that the AI or Click.ai actually works in terms of inputting data, and we've got an Excel spreadsheet. But what are the use cases, Parag? How are people actually benefiting from this product?
So main use case, like on the automatic, if you're talking about the automatic product, which is our Excel spreadsheet automation software, the main use case is to do IRR analysis for multifamily investor, like loan to value, and like what's the NOI of the property, that a true NOI of the property is. And then every clients are different in the sense, some clients go very detailed in that sense that, hey, I just want the charge of accounts of my this property because I'm just evaluating. And then some clients want to go further deeper, like they categorize everything, they also subcategorize everything. and before they present it to the investment committee. So the changes are in their clients' models, but not really in the technology. So we
Okay.
have multiple features where clients can easily navigate through all those issues.
Okay. So I'm going to cut you off because I picked up on something you said. You didn't use the term, but therefore, am I correct in understanding that they use they utilize Clik.ai in the acquisition process? Do
They
they?
do, yes. Yeah.
Okay, so not just management, right? You talk about so what are the uses? That's what I'm getting at. So this is to manage, presumably, underwrite for acquisitions, for loans. Like to kind of tell me what are they actually using the platform for?
So it's for understanding how my IRR gonna get affected from this T12 rentals I received. They can play around with their, different scenarios. For a lender, it's to understand, to create loan workbooks. For a debt servicer or loan servicer, it's basically managing their quarterly financial reporting services, which they're complied to as part of, they have to report it back to the
Right.
agency loan like Fannie and Freddie. For
Mhm.
even to their lender clients, everyone has their process, and we help them optimize that process. So it's used for creating loan workbooks. It's used for creating, quarterly statement reviews, portfolio reviews,
Mhm.
on as long as there's financials and rentals involved in it. Then from the multifamily sponsor side, it helps them on the acquisition side, whether they're interested in the deal. Broker sends a package, they review it. If they're interested, they get into the detail of putting together a financial model and understanding where, depending on their depending on how the company is structured. Multifamily in the syndicators which try to understand what are my LPs, like the first LP and GP is gonna get, and what kind of IRRs I can hit. They can change around their assumptions, different kind of so it's a financial modeling tool, I would say, but the financial modeling tool which is based off your own financial model rather than enforcing anything new to you.
And do you look at general market data and compare? This is a bit of a leap, and this may just be a no, we don't. So forgive me for even asking that. So can you also help sponsors understand how they're performing in the market, perhaps with the intent of identifying assets that are underperforming or ripe for sale, or kind of other action points that they may not have even thought about, but Click AI is able to suggest isn't a possible outcome.
So we are not integrating any third party market data. There
Mm.
are a lot of options available in the market today for enterprise. There are Trap, there are CoStars, kind of, and we think that most of these guys have their own market data provider subscriptions going on. So we don't want to enforce anything new. And then it's a sometimes at the lower, like a small to mid segment market, where depending on it's also a price sensitive market. They're already tied up to a lot of subscription. They don't want another pricey subscription at the end. So we have stayed away from integrating any third-party market data. However, what we are building next is using our OM extraction tool to help them digitize all the deals that are hits, or to a certain extent, create a very simple acquisition CRM. And then let's say you're underwritten the deal from Click AI. You have this data now. You can compare this data against, let's say, you're in Dallas, and a new deal came in, but you over the last 2 months you have seen let's say 50 more deals. So you can do a comparison against older deals you received and this deal you're interested in. What are the per unit costs for similar property in this zip code that I've been looking at? How many deals I got? Who sent me most of the deals? So you can start visualizing and make sense of that information. I believe today this all information are for larger companies. They're paying subscriptions to bigger software providers, so they're which at least starts from 25K per license or something. A lot of companies can't afford that, so we're trying to create a way where, in a very affordable and a good price point, they can not only underwrite the deal, they can also have this as a repository for their deals.
That's really interesting. So you used a few acronyms very swiftly there. You talked about aggregating OMs and integrating it with the CRM. So dumb that down for me a little bit. What does that look? I mean, I think what you're saying is that you've got a sponsor who's looking at 100 deals, And if he uploads all the information he finds about all of those deals on an ongoing basis, he can then lob the next one that he finds in and get
Correct.
a comparison with every. How does this one sit with the set that I've been looking at for the last 6 months, or whatever? Is that
Yeah, it
the
sits.
idea?
So it's the new product that we launched recently. As I mentioned, like, our focus in earlier on was to figure out this Excel model automation, which is a key piece when somebody's serious about a deal. But on top of that, now let's say typically all these investors have relationship with brokers. They have, connections with them, so people are receiving deals.
Mm-hmm.
So we launched this offering memorandum digitize parser AI, which can literally digitize everything for you at a click of a button. You upload the OM. Maybe a couple of OMs won't miss, but we can run a service behind the back to make sure that if this is not working, if the AI doesn't work, then a team can take it. But the goal is, let's get all the deals you receive loaded so that it becomes your personalized BI dashboard.
Mm-hmm.
And
And
today
then, and
where
then you
the
can and then you can chat with that, right? You can talk to that data set and understand how any deal compares or whatever, right? There's
Yeah, there are a lot of use cases you can build off that, but I think the most important piece in our view is how to get this information sitting in that PDF into a usable manner in a nice looking business intelligence dashboard, because that's the piece I believe a lot of companies are not solving.
and why did you come to choose to do this? Is this a kind of customer driven, or how did you choose to do this? Because it sounds very interesting.
Yeah, we have kind of, I feel like, stabilized our way how we approach enterprise, larger, bigger customers, like who are buying, lot of licenses or a lot of, so that part is different. Like, one of the challenge for us has been a lot of companies just don't want an underwriting solution at the smaller end of the segment. They want a whole solution, and they don't want to buy 5 different systems for 5 different workflows. So what we're trying to do is bring that whole experience into a one solution with multiple applications, and then become the truth of source of truth for them.
All right. So for somebody new to the world of AI, right, and new to the world of AI driven models, how would you explain the long-term value and return on investment of using Click.ai in somebody's workflow? Like somebody
So
listening who's, barely able to use their phone like I used to be.
yeah, so the thesis is very simple. We are building the due diligence, AI box for you, and then you can do a lot of things. So first use case is immediately you can make your employees productive. Second use case is if your information has been sitting in PDFs and different kind of files, which you till date didn't had any way to kind of look into it in a dashboard kind of manner. This is one other solution. Then on top of that, you can, payroll is a big problem. You can hire people leave. So this due diligence, AI box can become kind of like an enabler to become for helping you more being productive and getting more insight from your own corporate data without buying multiple subscriptions and getting the. So we're kind of like focusing on the back office due diligence aspect of a deal underwriting, and one part of that is obviously financial modeling. The other part is storing that data, and so that we can go back and look what happened, what kind of deals received in the market, how the market is changing, based on your own data rather than from third party data.
Well, the other thing that I noticed that is kind of, I think, related is that you've been doing some or making some cool posts on LinkedIn. I've been hyper active on LinkedIn recently. As I mentioned, that's how we met. One of them is you've got this, and I just scanned it quickly before we came on. Closings of the week, CRE leaders in the headlines. You've got some data. Okay, what's all that about?
That's basically,
I mean, it's really whatever it is looks cool, but I'm not quite like weave it into the story of Click.ai. What's going on with that?
so this we believe why we should be launching this as kind of like a freemium value add service. Like, we don't charge for anything, but where we are today in the market, the AI is there to understand any kind of news article and kind of understand who is the company doing this mentioned in this article, who are the decision makers who are mentioned in the article. So what we're trying to do is, instead of people, or let's say from an example of a broker in a particular market, or following who's doing the deals, if they want to interact with those individuals who are mentioned on that particular deal in their market, they have to manually go to their LinkedIn. They have to manually subscribe to different service to find their phone numbers, find their
Mm.
emails. So we are aggregating all that so that you can keep a pulse of the market, while at the same time you can enrich your own internal CRMs with the leaders, their LinkedIn, their phone number, their
How are you
email.
doing that?
We are using AI agents to do that.
To scrape data, basically.
Yeah, so basically what we do is our we can set up Google alerts which are actually targeting only that content. As soon
Hmm.
as a Google alert comes in, automatically a webhook goes in which can list that in, which can pass that URL of the news link to our AI agent that we have built, and that AI agent can then understand the intent and understand whether there are organizations mentioned in it or a broker is mentioned in it, picks out the personal name, the name of that personal, the name of that organization, goes find out, do a Google search to find their LinkedIn. From LinkedIn, we obviously subscribe to data services so we can find their in email and phone number. And all of this is free. So, and this we just started about like, few weeks back, and already it has, and we're just focusing on multifamily for now. Like we're not expanding other asset classes. It can have the ability to aggregate immense amount of data and enrich your CRM to like, thousands and thousands in a single month. I feel why we were doing this, we don't have any monetization strategy behind it, but we just thought that this would be a valuable, information for someone who's involved in real estate.
Fascinating. Let's talk about that a little bit offline. But let's wrap up for now for the podcast. I have three sign-off questions, rapid sign-off questions that I want to ask you. Uh, and they are as follows. I gave you a heads up on one of them. The first one. So why should commercial real estate or real estate professionals be paying attention to AI today?
Well, I think it's an obvious answer is that there are very lot of things that you can help AI do, which, and so that your main task is focusing on building the business rather than doing this mind-numbing manually repetitive work. And there are a lot of use cases now, so that's why they should pay attention. It's an incredibly productivity boost, and we are trying to enable that process for companies.
All right, Parag, so how do you actually use AI on a daily basis? What are your go-to platforms that you rely on all the time?
Yeah, so we play. I play quite a bit around with the. I have a technical background, so I play a lot around with the APIs and different kind of ways how I can increase my business in a more automated fashion. So obviously, a lot of new advancements like ChatGPT's vision model can do that. So we're visualizing, and our main intent right now is what we wished we could have done 3 years ago. We are not able to do that because of these advancements. We are using large language models. So we're going super fast on rapid product development, and it's incredible what's happening right now. So we are launching every useful product week after week, and that's our goal, so that we can increase this due diligence AI box and companies can be super productive in their workflow, and they can focus on closing the deal, making money, and do more important things rather than this repetitive and back office kind of intensive work.
It is incredible how fast it's changing, isn't it, Parag? I mean, how do you stay on? This is not one of my final questions, but I'll ask you anyway. How do you stay on top of it? I mean, to me, it's like going down a steep ski slope, with skis but no poles. You just kind of got to hang on and hope you don't hit anything along the way.
Yeah. It's becoming, quite honestly, it's becoming quite overwhelming where
Yeah,
what is being launched every day.
right.
But historically, for last 10, 15 years, I've been an active daily, reviewer, or kind of like when I wake up in the morning, go to Product Hunt, go to TechCrunch, go to multiple sites that I've bookmarked, and that's just how I kind of consume content and
Mm.
information. And then from that, something that is relevant from my business, I talk to my team, and we kind of like strategize on it. And if it's relevant to us, we use it.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. Okay, last question. So, for somebody who hasn't really tinkered with AI and is maybe even skeptical, what is an easy win for them? What's something they could do as soon as they stop listening to this show that will just kind of give them a eureka moment?
Yeah, I would say like from our perspective, from our platform perspective, there are a lot of freemium applications we're launching where which is it doesn't cost any money. So you go sign up, go to our link, sign up there, and then I'm very excited about what our commercial real estate teams can do with. They can do business development with it. They can send automated emails, reach outs. They can write narratives. There can, in a chat-based environment, they can find rental comparables from public data. There's incredible amount of things that, I mean, the use cases are unlimited at this point, and it will continue to grow. So I think the challenge here is stay focused and to build what you want to build because there's so much you can do.
So true. Parag Goswami, Clik.ai, founder and CEO, correct, of Clik.ai. What a pleasure meeting you. Thanks so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me here, Adam. Great to meet you as well.
All right, that was Parag Goswami, who is founder and CEO of Clik.ai. Parag, what a pleasure meeting you. Thank you so much for sharing your story, your insights, and telling us all about Clik.ai. It's a very cool platform, and I look forward very much to talking to you further. And thank you, dear viewers, for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed it. Do go to Clik.ai and see what you can figure out. And it's fairly easy to log in and set up an account. It's got all kinds of incredibly valuable what do you call freemium tools that you can play around with and gain some benefits from those as well. They're at Clik.ai. And while I'm encouraging you to go there, also go to gowercrowd.com, hit the subscribe button if you are not yet a subscriber to the Gower Crowd newsletter that covers the world of capital raising, heavily enhanced by AI. All right, that's it for me this week. Thanks so much for joining. And until next time, this is Adam Gower signing off.